Hi there folks, this is Michael from First Aid Oz once again. In this video we're going to discuss asthma, and I'm sure everybody out there knows somebody who suffers from asthma either on an ongoing basis or perhaps at certain times of the year or in certain conditions. And there's many different things that trigger asthma. Sometimes it's seasonal and often during spring with hay fever and things like that. Some people get exercise-induced asthma where they don't normally have asthma on a day-to-day basis, but with intense exercise they have difficulty breathing, not just because of lack of fitness but irritation of the airways. Other people are triggered by things like allergies, pet fur, smoke, temperature, medication and so forth. So there's many different things that can trigger asthma, and the important thing is, if you find that you're getting an asthma type response, is to go and get checked out medically to try and determine what those triggers are. But anyway, when it comes to first aid, there's a few things to keep in mind. First of all, asthma is irritation of the airways. So the irritation causes the person to get an itchiness or causes them to cough, and constant coughing makes the irritation worse. It can be a dry cough or it can be a phlegmy cough, so you can cough up phlegm. But the continual coughing increases the irritation, and this irritation and inflammation can cause a slight swelling of the airways and soreness, which again, it kind of snowballs and becomes worse. So it can become what we call a severe asthma attack. So in regards to treatment, so you will be familiar with asthma puffer. Now this one's a white one. You probably don't see a white one anywhere. Just in our first aid classes we use the white one, which basically means it has no medication in it. But generally the two types are a brown puffer and a blue puffer. The brown one doesn't concern us so much as first aiders because the brown one is more of a preventative medication. So the person who's a diagnosed asthmatic would possibly have a brown puffer, or they may have some tablets that they crush up, and they take that before they're going to be exposed to known triggers. So for example, before you went outside at certain times of the year or before you exercise and so on. You will have all seen the blue puffer. Many of you will know it as Ventolin, which is a brand name. The blue puffer is more to do with first aid, more to do with when you have the asthma, and it's a medication to help relieve the asthma symptoms. So the medication is a bronchodilator. It's to help open up the bronchiole or the airways, if you like. So let's assume this is the blue puffer. Okay, so you've seen many people with asthma, and often it'll be associated with coughing. There'll be often a wheezing sound, particularly on expiration when the person breathes out, and it may feel a fatigue or even a shortness of breath. So the idea with the blue puffer or the Ventolin is, let's assume that you've only got the puffer. So for example, you've gone for a walk and you have it in your pocket. You give it a shake. Okay, you stick it in your mouth, but it's very important. Often you'll see people spray it into their mouth. Their mouth will be wide open and you'll actually see the puffs of spray come out, which is almost a complete waste of time, to be honest. You need the medication to go into your airways, not just into your mouth. Okay, your problem with asthma is not in your mouth. Your problem is further down. So if you're going to do it that way, because you don't want to carry many things, you need to make sure when you put it in your mouth that you seal as much as possible, which is very difficult to do. So, and leave it in there while you take at least 1 or 2 full breaths. Okay, not the best way to do it, but it is the way many people do it, only for practicality purposes. So that was with the Ventolin. A better way to do it is if you have an object called a spacer. Now they come in different sizes. You may have seen quite huge ones. They're getting smaller and smaller, again, to encourage people to carry them with them, put them in the first aid kit, or whatever the case might be, in your bum bag or in your school bag if it's a child. But basically the idea of a spacer is to make it more effective for you to get the medication to the place where you need the medication, where the irritation is occurring. So effectively the process is this. So you give your puffer a shake, okay, and you insert it into the spacer. Now, the magic number is 4 when it comes to asthma. So what we're going to do is we're going to administer 4 puffs, but it's going to be 1 puff, 4 breaths, 1 puff, 4 breaths. You're going to repeat that 4 times. Okay, we're going to see what happens. We're going to wait 4 minutes. If that's relieved the symptoms, great. If there's still some symptoms there, we're going to repeat that process again 4 minutes later. If there's no relief after the second administration, we need to call 000, okay, because then we would consider this to be an asthma emergency. If the symptoms got worse or very severe before that, call 000 straight away. Don't wait the 4 minutes. So you judge that whether it's fairly mild symptoms which are progressively getting worse, we try the medication. If they don't help, we call 000, or if it's fairly bad, straight off the bat, we call 000 straight away. Better to be safe than sorry in this case, because asthma is a very severe condition, particularly when you have an asthma attack or an asthma emergency. Asthma attack can also trigger cardiac arrest, and people can die as a result of an asthma attack. So it's nothing to be ignored, okay? So anyway, let's come back to our spacer. So we've given the Ventolin a shake, or the blue puffer a shake. We put the spacer in our mouth, okay? And in the case, well, obviously, we may be able to administer it to ourselves, but as first aiders, we're treating other people. So we assist them, put it in their mouth, and we encourage them to take a breath. And as they breathe in, okay, we leave the spacer in their mouth, allow a couple more breaths, okay, so that they get all that medication in. Don't administer 1 puff and take the spacer out straight away. The spacer does 2 things, and again, remember, after 4 breaths, we repeat with another puff. After 4 breaths, we repeat with another puff. In between puffs, give it a shake again, okay, because we've breathed whatever medication was in there, and we repeat it. So 4 times, okay? 4 times, 4 breaths in between each one, 4 minutes, and we repeat it. All right, the other thing to consider is often with asthma, and particularly with children, sometimes they will get a bit panicky, which is natural when you are struggling to breathe, especially when you don't understand why or what's going on. Maybe you haven't been diagnosed yet, or maybe it feels worse than it normally does. So it can trigger an anxiety, okay? And in days gone by, to help prevent the person hyperventilating, you might have had them breathe into a paper bag, for example, and then concentrate on their breathing. So the spacer also helps with that, because the spacer gets the person to focus on their breathing, okay, which helps to calm them. All right, so if I'm administering the spacer to a child, I would coach them through it, okay? So if I had my casualty here, I'd be going, okay, nice and relaxed, nice deep breath, okay, breathe in and out. Breathe in, and as they breathe in, I will give it a puff. So I'm getting them to try and relax, not to think about the panic and the impending doom and death. Sometimes when we have a little bit of anxiety, we think the worst. So it's just get them calmed down a little bit, which sort of helps with that preventing hyperventilation and that anxiety. And it also, for us, it ensures that they're getting that full breath and getting the medication in. So that's asthma, okay? So you need to have a spacer in your first aid office or in your first aid kit. They come even smaller than this. Like I said, this is a child version. You can get a bigger one for an adult. You can actually get one which is not much bigger than the puffer itself. You can get disposable spacers as well. These plastic ones, they can be reused. Okay, basically you just wash it in soapy water as you would when you do your dishes, and put it in the dish rack to dry. Air dry is fine. It doesn't have to be sterilized, but it does have to be washed between uses. So don't just throw it back in your kit. Make sure you wash it before somebody else uses it. That's very important, obviously, to prevent risk of infection and so forth. So I hope that helps you with asthma. Through this course, you'll learn a few different methods of treatment for different conditions. Like I said, asthma can be caused by many different factors, and if you find that you have asthma symptoms and you're not sure what's caused it, go and get yourself tested medically, and also advise your casualty, if they haven't done so, if they weren't aware that they had asthma, to do that. Asthma is also one of the few medications as a first aider you're allowed to administer. Generally first aiders are not allowed to administer medication. Two exceptions are in the case of asthma and in the case of anaphylaxis, which we'll talk about in another video. Okay, thank you.